Cllr Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I suppose this would technically be classed as my maiden speech, albeit in my second incarnation. And actually, you must know that it must be the Christmas season, because here we are with yet another repeat. Yes, it's Groundhog Day, discussing the park's closures once again. Once upon a time, as all fairy tales begin, or October, to be precise, the Conservative opposition brought their concerns about the decision to close the parks to open scrutiny, as my colleague Councillor Cllr has said, where the issue was considered, debated and reviewed. One would have thought that the opposition would understand and respect the process and welcome an evidence-based approach to policy making, but clearly not. Instead, they prefer to rely on supposition and scaremongering. The evidence that was presented that evening, and I'll refer people to the report itself of the 29th of October, was that locking up parks at night has, counterintuitively perhaps, little bearing on the level of crime. But if it does, as the opposition are convinced that it does, then surely the logical conclusion which they should be arguing for is to close off all the borough's 124 parks and open spaces at night, which must be hotbeds of crime and disorder. Don't think they are alone. However, be that as it may, Councillor Bond agreed to defer the implementation of the proposal until April, conceding that the Friends of Parks should at least be consulted. And incidentally, as again Councillor Cllr said, only a handful have actually taken up the offer. But most notably, the position will be reviewed after a year, and that's the essential point. So you can see what, if anything, changes as a result of the decision. But of course, if truth be told, this motion is really nothing more than a smokescreen. For some reason, the opposition conveniently wish to gloss over the context within which this and other decisions are being taken. It may well be sweetness and light out there in the land of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but in the real world, it's more like the grim fairy tales. Indeed, it's bizarre that the opposition take umbrage at Councillor Bond over an evidence-based decision, but strangely, they don't bat an eyelid, let alone target their real ire at the real villain of the piece, George the Grinch Osborne. Yes, he's the man. Council budget by £80 million. £80 million over the next 4 years. And
Order, please. Order.
They don't like it up, do they? And this is on top of the £75 million cuts that the previous administration was forced to make. But the public should be under no illusion at the implication of these cuts, especially as we face ever-increasing liabilities to the implementation of the Cllr Act, the growing and ageing population, higher borrowing costs, and other ongoing pressures. Only last week, a representative from the Local Government Association responding to Osborne's latest round of local authority cuts, he said that up until now, councils have managed reductions in funding fairly well, arguing that we're a victim of our own success. But we can't keep on doing that. He said another £3 billion of cuts will be pushing some councils close to the edge. But the most significant point about these comments was who said them. It was Gary Porter. He's a Conservative lead at the Local Government Association. And he concluded with a stark warning that 60 to 70% of councils will start reducing frontline services next year. And his views were echoed by Martin Tek, and he's the Conservative leader of Buckinghamshire County Council. He warned of cutbacks on a whole range of areas that people are really going to start noticing now. Make no mistake, that is where we're at. As I said, it's a grim fairy tale, but sadly one that is all too real. Mr. Mayor, this is the reality that the opposition seemingly do not wish to acknowledge, let alone confront, but it's one that the public do need to know. So yes, we can debate motions such as these, which at least gives you some idea as to the opposition's priorities. But the Labour administration, by contrast, will focus its time and resources on ensuring we get the best value for our service provision, with a primary concern for the poor, needy and disadvantaged, those who've borne the brunt of Osborne's austerity agenda. That is responsible leadership, and it's how we will proceed. It's simply the difference between beauty and the beast.